table 11. And I think you're with AMCU, is that correct?
Good morning to you and your guests and the audience. My question really is directed to the captains of the industry, but I don't know because I thought there was going to be a Chamber of Mines. If there is anyone on behalf of the captains who will respond to it. Is that I just want to check if do they acknowledge the fact that the majority of the lowest categories employees are earning very little compared to the minority of the highest category employees. If they acknowledge that fact, I just want to check from them as to how long, to their opinion, do they think that this situation should continue prevailing? When are they intending to address, in closing, the gap that exists between those two levels of categories? Thank you.
All right. Is there a mining house here that might want to be able to comment on that particular issue?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think we have. There's some specific questions I want to ask you, Bridget, a little bit later on. So if you could just bear with me. But who's going to speak?
Table 4.
Table 4. If you could please stand up and just identify yourself and then respond.
Chamber.
Okay, table 4. Are you having a negotiation first? All right, okay, all right. So perhaps maybe we can go to Bridget, who's also the president of the Mining Association of South Africa. So Bridget Motsepe-Radebe, president of the South African Mining Development Association. Table number... Okay, right, there we go. All right, so you're an employer as well, plus also you sit on this association. So maybe you can give us a view. There's this conversation that continues to happen about inequality in the pay at the top line and at the bottom line. What are your thoughts on what you've been seeing? And is this something that can be changed? And I'm wondering also, I mean, this is maybe another question. Even if we didn't pay them anything and doubled the salary of our employees, would the mines still be able to carry on working?
I think it's unfortunate we have members of the chamber here, and that question of pay, they should have been able to answer. And it's unfortunate they're not answering it. But when I sit here as a producer of mineral and also as the president of the South African Mining Development Association, which is one of 2 chambers in South Africa, we represent the junior mining chamber that has an asset base of 50 million to 7 billion. But for the 28 years that I've been in this industry, I do agree that there is a lack of income. There's a disparity in terms of those that own in the highest level and those that do not own, but they should be owning at the lowest level. But ownership and income is just one of the aspects. If we look at the charter, and we ask ourselves, why is there Marikani? Why are there organizations like EFF that have just emerged? And you ask yourself as a producer, where do these uprising of service delivery happen? It is in the areas where there are mining companies producing. What were we supposed to do as producers? We were supposed to adhere to Section 11 of the Act, Section 100 of the Act actually. Section 100 of the Act has created a charter. The charter has created certain elements of the charter, ownership of which is one of them. To date, 2014, in 20 years of our democracy, we have, if we just make an example, of the 49 listed companies, and there are more than 49 listed companies in South Africa, but 49 listed companies in the JSE index, they're worth 2.574 trillion. But when you look at the compliance of the charter, to date, mining companies should have had not less than 26% unencumbered net value in the ownership of historically disadvantaged South Africans. We only have 2.5%, which is worth 63 billion. Obviously, we are not compliant. Beyond the ownership, look at the human resource aspects and look at the employment equity aspects of the charter. If we adhere to them 100%, we'd not be sitting here talking about pace. And if you go beyond that, procurement, human resource development, procurement and beneficiation. In these areas where there are mines, if every mining company was committed to making sure the procurement is at least creating small and medium enterprises for those historically disadvantaged communities, we'd have employment opportunities, we'll have small businesses and beneficiation. Why do we have to import cars? We're the catalytic converters of platinum. We are the major producers of platinum. We export platinum. The catalytic converters of that platinum is then creating the engines of the car. Why don't we do it here? So I'm just saying to the producers, 2014, the 1st of May, was the charter compliance deadline. And DMR, you're sitting there, what are you going to do? Are you having the appetite to make sure the producers are compliant? If producers are compliant, what will we have? We'll be sitting here talking about employment equity being adhered to, 100%, human resource development being adhered to, our workers not living in hostels, and those that are not living in hostels, we've replaced hostels with squatter camps. Marikani, there are all these squatter camps. And yes, I'm just pleading, my dear brother. I'm one of those people, the president of AMCU, that sits in this forum that the deputy president have been chairing. I just plead, let us please get AMCU on board. I heard what you said for the first time. I have never spoken to you, but let me just read one thing that is happening rightly in Canada. I've never spoken to you, but when I heard what you said, and I hear what this Canadian minister is saying, South Africa first. The Canadian minister says, the Canadian government blocked BHP Billiton's 39 billion bid for Potash Corp, the world's biggest producer of key crop nutrient, halting what had been the world's biggest takeover. Industry Minister Tony Clements said, in Canada, our natural resources are an important economic driver. I have come to the conclusion that BHP Billiton does not present a likely net benefit to Canada. The South Africa First approach has to be embraced. And the National Union of Mine Workers have so far displayed a lot of leadership in trying to curtail the unrest. Now, I'm not assuming or actually indicating that you, the president of AMCU, is not displaying leadership. You are displaying leadership. It's just the way it's been articulated on the floor that is a bit of a problem. Let us unite and let us together look at Section 100 of the Act, the Charter Compliancy. That's where we start. And once we've done that, then all these symptoms that come all out because of non-compliance will be addressed. 2014, the 1st of May was the deadline. What are we doing about it? And the DMR DTI code, actually the DTI code and the charter should have been aligned long ago. Why are we sitting in 20 years and the alignment has not happened?
All right. DG, compliance, that's your job, isn't it?
Certainly so. Certainly so, yes. We, as stakeholders, we agreed to targets which have got to be met by 2014. They are in the charter. We've got 9 elements which have been identified there. And the process in the department now is that we are now assessing this compliance. And we are confident that the mining companies will come to the party. We expect them to comply. And if they're not going to comply, we'll address it.
What will be the consequences?
The consequences will be governed by the MPRDA because we expect mining companies to comply in terms of the MPRDA when they are given their licenses. So we will engage with them. If we find that they're not complying, then there will be a problem.
So you're going to take their licenses away?
There are processes you have got to follow before you take one's license. You don't just say, look, we don't comply, you take a license. There's administrative justice which has got to be followed.
So by when? If May 14 was the date for the cutoff?
By October this year, we will be releasing the information in terms of the compliance of the mining industry. And from there, we'll then look at how we review the charter, because we all agreed on these targets. For instance, the 26% in terms of ownership. One of the important things is that the hostels should all be converted to decent accommodation by 2014. So by next year, we should not have any hostel, the single-sex hostels which are currently taken.
All right, let's talk about accommodation. Mr. Mathunjwa, Mr. Baleni. My understanding also is that some workers don't want to stay in the hostels because they want to get the housing allowance. Is that happening?
I think firstly, in terms of peace, because you said I must also respond to that. AMCU is committed to peace, and there's no doubt about that. A recent strike that was in the gold sector, where NUM had a strike of about 3 days or 4 days, I don't know. Our members, ladies, were attacked on the change rooms. The matter was escalated up to the Minister of Police, Babu Natumteto. No arrest whatsoever, with video footages of members of NUM attacking our members. Nothing happened. And why the reason they are not arrested is because the president of NUM, his president, is sitting in a SAPS bureau where he's got a high influence of who must be arrested. And you ask yourself, how can a president of a union sit in a SAPS bureau? You can see yourself that he's got much influence. That's why he's even going to the media and saying, go and check the jails, how many members of AMCU are arrested. Because they are members, they cannot be arrested because it's got an influence to the government. Coming to the peace framework, the peace framework, we are committed to it. They are committed to that, and they even sign, but are the one that are doing violence in our members, but they are signatories to the very same peace agreement. The reason why AMCU hasn't signed the peace agreement, our members, we read to them, and also from our side, we make some input of which the government didn't want to include in that peace agreement. For instance, we said no politician should be a BE partner in the mining. Reason being the Marikane, whereby NUM and Lonmin and the state colluded and killed 34 mine workers. That was the reason. We said until such time, the BE, they are not politicians, because we've seen by Cyril Ramaphosa what happened. So we said, if we want to bring peace and stability, 1, the salaries of the workers must be of a living wage. 2, the active politician mustn't be part of the BE because of the experience of Marikane. So we are committed to peace.
But Mr. Mathunjwa, with all due respect, you're not a poor man yourself though, are you? I mean, you're not suffering. You must have benefited from BE somewhere along the line.
Come again, I didn't take...
I said, I'm just asking, on the front page of the Star today, there's an article that's saying that you are, that you are living quite large, in a word. But so now my question is...
No, it's fine, I can answer that one.
Yeah, okay.
It's free. Here, the breakfast was about the mining.
Yes.
Was about the inequality.
Yes.
Mathunjwa is working.
Yes.
Did I steal to anyone? If I still go to the SAPS and open the case and let me investigate and be arrested. So you cannot compare Mathunjwa, who's coming from the background of poverty, try to build himself, and then now saying it's a sin for me to have 1, 2, 3 without stealing anything. So the strike hasn't been called by Mathunjwa. The strike is been mandated by our members to the national to declare the strike. So therefore, I don't see any correlation about that. If this breakfast show is about my personal life, please arrange a breakfast show. I will take you through to my personal life.
Okay.
I think we need to be careful about discombobulated utterances. Mr. Mathunjwa has become a professional liar. Firstly, he says that during the strike of the gold, there were people injured. That's not true. He said that he imagines it, he wished that it could have happened. There's no such thing. We had an 11-week strike in Northern Platinum, 11-week. Not a fly was hurt. There were few members of him, I think 68 of them, who could count them. They were reporting for duty. It's also very, what you call, an abridged encounter with information is dangerous. He talks about SAPS Bureau. President, you want to say the South African Communist Party Politburo.
Okay.
Not subs.
No.
Not subs.
No.
All right.
The
Okay.
president of
Let me
The
just.
president of NUM is not involved in any.
All right. Okay.
No,
Hang on.
This was said in the commission.
All right.
His president, he never
Okay.
declined
Let me-
that. It was said before the Farnham Commission. He agrees that
Okay.
he sit in
So-
the SAPS bureau.
So from where I'm sitting again, I keep asking the question.
There's no such.
We've heard suggestions that the Western shareholders are taking advantage of you, that they are exploiting the worker. But what I'm hearing is violence between mine worker versus mine worker, which has got nothing to do with ownership and inequality. Why are you killing each other?
You're raising an important question because we agree with Mr. Mathunjwa that workers must get a living wage. We all agree. The issue which we're asking ourselves, why would people kill one another if they want wages? Why would people pick up women in their homes, strip them naked, stone them if they want wages? And we can't get that answer. So we are not involved in any violent activity. We go on strike.
Right.
If we go on strike and want to fight for wages.
Just hang on. What's clear is that both of you are saying that your members are not doing it, but somebody is doing it. Mr. Duplessis,
Sorry,
quick comment?
before that, Mr. Duplessis, can I take this quickly? The issue we were told I think last night yesterday, that those women that were killed somewhere in the squatter, 2 people have been arrested, non-union, they are not employed, they are just people. Our members told us at Wonderkop that those people that were killed in the shack were killed by people who are not employed by Lonmin or either of the company.
Right.
They are just a community people.
Quick comment
But he
from you,
already
Mr.
claimed that is his
All right.
members.
Quick comment from you,
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Duplessis.
to tie the dots, first of all, if you look at the issue was raised, the NUM strike in Gold. We didn't experience from Solidarity side any violence, intimidation, or threats. But the day when the Chamber of Mines brought an interdict against AMCU going on strike, and the day when they were successful, that evening and the night thereafter, a lot of shafts were sabotaged at Sibanya Gold. And then you start to wonder, but is there a link? Second, and that destroyed quite a few jobs. The second thing is, if we now look at the right to strike versus the right to work, who is then threatening our members want to go to work, and the NUM members, so it seems the right to work is now subordinate to the right to strike. So if you look at all of that, but my last comment is that Mr. Mathunjwa said, yes, he's a union, it's a bottom-up approach, but as a union leader, and I'm not in his shoes, and I can't give him advice, but I can just say, how can you let then in the chain, let the poorest of poor fight a battle where they're getting poorer if the intent is to make them richer, because the wrong people are currently paying the price. So that is just simply wrong and immoral.
Right. Okay, let's go to table 15, Pete Leroux. Table 15, Pete Leroux.
Peter.
Is it Peter?
Oh, Peter.
Oh, okay. Are you saying Peter? Okay,
I'm
Pete.
saying Peter, the question is simply, in an environment of such prolonged strike action, what is the responsibility of unions to alleviate the socio-economic implications for their members? They don't go unburdened by such prolonged action. So what is the role of unions? What are their role to alleviate such problems?
Okay. Mr.
you repeat the
Mathunjwa?
question?
Yes. So my understanding is that your union members will contribute during the course of their membership to the unions. Subscriptions come through, and I'm just wondering, is this building some kind of fund to help these employees during these downtimes? Does it go to paying them something whilst they're not working?
Yeah, remember, once we are on strike, it's common cause that there's no work, no pay, so there's no money coming to the union. But however, even during this strike, we've set up a strike fund of which assist on emergency issues that are facing our members.
All right, so let's just get the salary thing cleared up, because I think there's a lot of things that are being reported in the media and I'm not sure how accurate they are. This 12,500 that you're wanting, is that basic before allowances? And with allowances, what will that come up to?
I think it's not important how it come up to. What is important is a basic salary. That a mine worker took him 17 years to earn 4,500 in 2014. So 12,500, if you compare to Brazil, the RDO in Brazil is earning 25,000 rand. You go to Australia, the RDO in Australia is earning 80,000 rand. The question should be, to second the lady on the floor, why should South Africa, owning maybe 70% of the platinum, becoming a price taker? Why can't we put a price on our commodities? That's a question. Then we will be able to address all these issues. The country cannot survive based on tax and take your all collateral and give it to the investor and do as they please. There is no country. There is no country that can survive.
Okay, Mr. Thibedi.
Now, can I just give a very un-union-like response also to that, despite the fact that I agree in general there needs to be changes. If you look at the RDO salaries, that was also for us a big burning point, and sometimes I think the employers are their biggest enemy in terms of their PR. We went to one specific platinum company. We said, can we see the salaries of all the rock drill operators? And there were rock drill operators earning 4,000 take home. There were rock drill operators taking between 16 and 18,000 rand home. Funny enough, all four that we pulled that were earning above 70 were NUM members. And we said, but how is it that the NUM member can take home 17,000 rand? And there was an AMCU member taking 4,000 and other. And the explanation was simple, is that there are a lot of debt issues, obviously it's a given, but if you work your full shift and extra shift, you obviously earn extra money. So those employees who are earning above 16 and 17,000 as rock drill operators, as soon as they've done their 70 holes, they carried on to do another 17 and they doubled their salary on a specific shift. And those are the kind of things where we say, but we as unions must also look at productivity and look at those specific issues where we can guide our members, because maybe there is a quick fix to get richer.
For the CEO to earn 17.6 million, does he work as a slave as he compared? So our members shouldn't have time to rest. They must drill that 180 holes, and thereafter, when he's supposed to go to sleep, he must also drill in order to get 17,000. That is what we are advocating here, that we won't agree with it. We are saying 12,500, these companies, they can afford.
All right. Mr. Mathunjwa, one question that keeps coming up is, are you earning a salary during this strike at all?
Oh, it's a recycled question, that one.
I know, but
even my friend here, he knows when his members are on strike, he gets a salary. It's what is happening, because it's not all AMCU members in all industries are on strike. If I was on strike, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be sitting somewhere outside the office of AMCU. So it's common cause.
It's interesting that Chris Griffith and Mr. Mathunjwa has the same answer. They are not on strike.
No, the point is, I'm not on strike. It's not about Chris Griffith. Chris Griffith, he even go further and say the workers are uneducated. He believes that the money that he's earned is because he's educated. His employees are uneducated and are unskilled. That's a fact.
Okay.
On wages.
A very simple question. Very simple question. Can the